Ajo, and welcome to my channel once again. I am New Moon, and you can follow me by subscribing to my channel below. Also, give it a like and share if you find that this resonates with you. So I know in my previous video, we spoke about color and what it is. We differentiated between light and dark. So I know I introduced and I still have the same chart. But how are you feeling today? And I have a color chart here to kind of, you know, gauge what our emotions are. And I also wanted to bring next in line a little bit more about color as far as like meanings, things of that nature. Not all of our representations of color are going to be the same, and that is definitely understandable. But what I wanted to explain a little bit further about color is how it's helped me personally along my personal journey, and where I've come from and why I do what I do today. So with that being said, there are so many ways that we can take color. It can be on a positive or a negative polarity, which we've already discussed. We can look at red as like passion, love, fierceness, but we can also look at it as like anger, aggression, and, not so good things. So taking a little bit closer look into how we look at the polarities of colors. I'm also trying to find my notes, so bear with me in just a moment here. Um, but overall, color is very important to me as far as how feelings are expressed, right? So, to give an example, I have a couple of things I want to show. But also, I would encourage you all to, just take notes of the colors. You have red, you have orange, you have yellow, you have green, you have blue, you have purple, you have black, you have white, you have gray, you have brown. If you mix any of the colors or interchange them, you come up with a whole nother color. So we're going to stick with the basics for now, and give negative meanings and positive meanings. So what do I mean by that? Here's where the examples come in. This is a painting that I painted. Um, as you can see, it's blue. It has a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white. But overall, this is like an interpretive painting for me. Some people may see blue as serene or calm or relaxing. But for me at that time, I had just lost my mother, and that was probably one of the most devastating experiences for me. So, blue at that time did not represent anything like calm or tranquil. It represented grief, it represented deep heartache. Um, that was something, my mother was someone I felt like I could never live without. And going through this process, I wasn't expecting to come up with this piece when I painted it. It just kind of happened. I had called off of work early and just came home and went straight to the canvas. And that's what popped up. And sitting and thinking about it, I'm like, well, usually I associate blue with being calm and serene. And in this particular instance, I realized that I was dealing you know, with something different. But also the perceptive of someone gave it to me very interestingly enough. When they look at depression or grief, they look at it as a mode of being in deep rest, because depressed is deep rest backwards. And ever since then, I added that to my colors, as far as how I saw my emotions. So How do you see your emotions right now? Think about it. It can be on any polarity that you want it to be. I would give a negative and a positive for your colors, so that you can figure out how you're feeling on each given day. That's something, if especially if you're very sensitive. I consider myself a very sensitive being. I can feel a lot of emotions at any given time. So it's helpful to me to have a color journal or a color chart to kind of gauge throughout the day where I am, so that I can figure out, how to balance myself a little bit more. Um, a prime example of that would be another painting that I did. Um, This is a mandala. This is my own mandala. But I painted this painting, and you can look at it either this way or this way. I made it that way. But it's red, it has black, but it also has white. Anger inspired this particular painting. And understanding that it was not necessarily, as I was painting it, it was something I painted out of, frustration, not only with myself, but with the partner I was dealing with at that time. By the time I actually got to the end of my mandala, I realized, there are a lot of things I could work out between me and this other person, also within myself. Maybe I was being a little bit too dramatic, but the anger was released on this canvas. But we can also see that as love. I really love this person. And I just really realized at the end of the day what I wanted them to do was kind of hear what I was saying. And the black is kind of a representation of you're not hearing me. That's kind of like where we go void in the darkness. But the mandala itself is a representation of a flower or a petal of hope, that from that anger and from that disconnect, there could be some connection, which is the white. So when we look at color and how we paint things, they can be negative or positive. I'm going in more to the negative aspects of color because I realized that that's been my life's journey, exploring the negative aspects so that I can appreciate the positive. And if this is something that resonates with you, I definitely encourage you to use color to, better gauge and explore how you feel a little bit more. You can do a circular chart, which I showed earlier. Let me see if I can go ahead and find that for you. I have a lot of sketches, people. Like this one right here. This is a little interpretive drawing. Just random. It has pink, blue, yellow, green. Triangles to me are all about like structure, mind, body, soul. And circles and spirals have always been about cycles and changes for me. So I put that in there. But green for me is love on my chart. And yellow for me is happiness. And pink for me is just, femininity. Along with purple having intuition, understanding, wisdom, insight. So all of these things are incorporated into this painting that I did probably about a couple of months ago. It's with watercolor medium. But this is an example, of course, again, of how I use color to define or to better understand the emotions that I'm feeling. Also paying attention to shapes, and we'll get into that more a little bit later. But yeah, like life is hard out here. We're human and we're huming in it. Huming in it. I don't know if humaning is a word, but we have to gauge and be responsible for how we are feeling each and every day. And having a circular chart, or whether it's actual listed chart, which I'm going to go ahead and shoot that to you again. I'm going to be organized next time around, people. I promise you. It's been a lot going on. But, of course, it's backwards again. I put it color-coded So it was like a red, pink. I actually did like red, pink, oranges and whatnot for this. But coming up with your own way of gauging emotions and what that means for you. And not being afraid of the shadows that come out, because the shadows become the light. The shadow of what I was feeling, the darkness, was definitely in the painting I showed you earlier here. The darkness was in the sadness and the grief, but that came out in a form of color. These are the colors that came up to shape how I was feeling. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My heart was broken. My chest caved in when I lost my mother. It was, like I said, one of the most bluest, depressing stages I probably could have ever went through. But I was able to take those emotions and pour them out. And I didn't necessarily think about it. You don't have to think. It could be very simple. It could be just some scribbles on a paper. I've done some little scribbles here. I got some orange. I got some brown. I got some red. I believe I have a little bit of light pink in here. You know, just taking the time out to just scribble. Use some colors. Close your eyes if you need to and just randomly pick a crayon and take it to a piece of notebook paper. I'm going to show you some really interesting sketches from way back when, but that'll be for like a throwback Thursday or something. But overall, yes, I just wanted to share personally my experience with color, dealing with more like the dark, shadowy aspects, because sometimes it's scary to go there. Sometimes we don't want to go there. Sometimes we don't want to acknowledge. But one thing I found is that your emotions are energy in motion. And it all depends on where you're putting that energy. Are you putting it into something, that'll last some time, a painting? Or are you investing it in something that you might regret later? That's something that you can't take back. Words, gestures, expressions. Taking a time out for self-reflection is the best way to note here. And these are just some things that personally helped me along my personal journey. I cannot expect you or anyone else, take it, serious or not. But these are just some things to help me. And if it helps you, great. If not, then I wish you well and peace and blessings. But for those who are looking for better ways to express yourself through color, I definitely encourage you to stay tuned, because I have a lot that's going to be coming up and lined up for you, and you don't want to miss out. So thank you again for tuning in. If you're looking to follow me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at NU _ moon, MOON _ creations. You can also find me on Facebook with Art and Alignment. That's Art and % Alignment. And stay tuned. Like I said, like, subscribe, share. Also, I have a website. Don't want to leave that out. My website is newmooncreations.com. That's NUMOON creations, CREATIONS.com. And I have a blog that I share about just life tips and tricks. Some things I will probably share here. Sometimes I will share them on the blog as well. So definitely stay tuned. I'll also be posting future workshops that I'll be having in dealing with color. And yeah, it's going to be a lit 2021 as we explore emotions and colors and whatnot. So definitely have a lot to enlighten myself to. And what I enlighten myself to, I definitely want to share with you. So definitely stay tuned. And if you have any questions or anything that you particularly want to discuss, let me know. I talk astrology. I talk cardology, I talk tarot, I talk color, I talk music, I talk an abundance of things. Hair, nails, skin, you name it. Whatever you want to talk about, let me know. And I can definitely research and bring that to the forefront for you. But until next time, my loves, moon salutations. Have a great one.